So this particular program, we are going to be instantiating our own class that we created. And our class is going to be student underscore last name. Or actually it's going to be px underscore student underscore last name. So that's going to be one of our classes. And you probably, I put a couple of errors in here. I would like, one of the things that I always like to put in front of classes is the word public, because sometimes Eclipse will not interpret it correctly. So the other public class is going to be p underscore object underscore last name, which is part of the main. If you look down, and a lot of times when people do programs, normally I would probably have these as two separate programs, but in this particular case, I've got it as one. So public static void is the entry point into this Java program when we're running the java.exe. So let's talk about the instance variables. So an instance variable is a variable that gets instantiated. So when you're looking down here and you say student1 equals new student John Doe 101, 18. So what it does is it looks for new student. Well, if you notice, student here, this is one of your syntax errors that you're going to have to fix, is up here it says student. There is no student by itself, or student one, or no, yeah, student. So I'm going to have to modify this down here to reflect student, but actually it's going to be px, which means it's going to be period and your period number, then student underscore your last name. So after I instantiate it, these private variables, name, ID, and age, is going to be instantiated. So it's part of the object. So the next part is the constructor. And we know that we've executed the constructor because when you come back down here to new student, John Doe 101, 18, you notice that it matches. So it has a string name, which is John Doe, int ID, which is 101, and int age. And it stores these. It takes these variables here and it stores it into name, ID, and age. You'll notice it'll say this here. Whenever you see this here, that means that you're working with an object. You're not working with a class. Sometimes we'll have variables that will be classes. But in this particular case, then you will also notice that they have the same name. So it's name on the left and name on the right. This is typically not good programming technique, but it's to illustrate that these, like this name, ID, and age is a local variable. This name, this ID, and this age are instance variables because you see the this. So, and you'll find them up here. Instance variables always go at the top. So let's talk about the different methods. So in the student class, we've got a method called getName. And so it's going to return the name. So all it does is you don't pass any parameters to it. You click on return name. And whatever the value of name is, and we know that name, the first time it gets instantiated, is going to be John Doe. The next method is called getID. And these are referred to, the generic terms for them, they're getters. They don't modify anything, they just return it. Well, since we set ID to 101, it's going to return 101. Then we're going to get age, and that's going to return age. So in our particular case, since we instantiated with 18, it's going to return the value of 18. So then we've instantiated this, but what's going on here is you're going to in our particular program here, we really, you notice there's no calls to that directly. There's no calls to get name, get ID, and get age. Just wanted to put them in there so you could see them, because all we need, because we know with our constructor, we already set the value of name, ID, and age. So when we run the method called display student information, we print out the student name, we concatenate the name, which we know that's John Doe, student ID, we concatenate the ID, and it's going to be 101. And then the student's age, we concatenate 18. And then since this is system.out.print, then it's going to print. So we created two objects, student 1 and student 2. And then we ran student 1 and we displayed student information. So that's going to do our John Doe 101, 18. Then I print a blank line, and then I do student 2, display student information. So it's going to print that. So you're going to add 3 more instantiations of objects. That means you're going to use the new command. And then you're going to have to run student 3, student 4, student 5, display student information. Good luck.